on the 9th seat. That's a good start, isn't it? Everybody's still waiting for ages. Hello, welcome to the Gers TV. I'm Si Leslie.
And I'm Sandra Gemmo. Glad you could join us, guys.
Si Hoffahead. What a start, right? We changed for the show tonight. No drinking this, made a new rule. Coffee only. Right, no bevian. That includes all is right. Even though I'm the one
This'll be
that
fun.
the bevian. Before we start, guys, loads and loads to happen, right? Like and share, you know the drill. The first thing we always tell you, we keep forgetting this. Facebook puts a wee sign up every now and again asking if you will
Send
donate
stars.
these stars. We don't want them. We don't know anything about it to the end of the show when we see it. We don't need them. We don't get anything really for it. We appreciate people's efforts for doing it. We don't do it.
It looks as if you've put it on the feed, guys. It's not us, it's Facebook that put it there themselves.
We have loads and loads to talk about tonight. Before we do that, what we'll do is we've got a video we're going to play. The video is tonight's prize. It's a fantastic painting of the Rangers management team throughout the years. We've got a wee statement read on it. It's just been produced and it's not been printed yet. We'll do the competition in about 10-15 minutes time. We'll let you see the picture of the video, and then we'll get ready to rock and roll. Here we go.
There we go, fabulous prize, guys.
That is one of the best, I've got to say, and I think that people have been speaking about it all week and saying that maybe get the guy and the painter, the painter. Is this why I'm being sober? To get him in the blue room and do some work.
You know nothing will go right because you're sober.
I know, because it's not done all day. So here's what the picture's all about. It's a selection of Rangers managers throughout the history. It's mostly all of them apart from Pedro and Mark Warburton, I think. It's just been completed in the last 2 days, I think, last day. And it's the managers and the old main stand. It's got a great backdrop on it. It's completely hand painted. We've got one of the pictures coming out right next week, and we're going to do a competition. Gordon, tell us some details on it. You've got some information on the picture.
So the artist is only doing 1,000 copies of it, and there'll be signed prints of the original artwork, and they usually retail anywhere between £30 up to £100. But as I say, the artist has kindly given the Gers TV one to give away, and if you stay tuned for the Tuesday teaser, you'll have your chance to win. As I say, it's limited edition. There'll only be 1,000 made in total by the artist, and you'll have your chance to win one of them, courtesy of the Gers TV and the artist Derek McGee. So thanks very much, Derek, for the prize, and I look forward to giving it away.
There you go.
We're also going to get Derek on next week. I think he said he's coming on next week and speak about it, or his promoter wanted to him. He'll let us know how it's going on. I forgot to say this, we should say this every week. We say Sandra, Simon, whatever. We've also got Gordon here. Right? Thanks, Gordon, for helping. I don't want to take the huff. Because a lot of people are saying, who is this Gordon who's turned up and all that? And you're like, you don't need to know. This is a gay Gordon in the corner.
I've got a face for the radio, so you'll hear me, not see me.
You've saw him before. He's done a few shows
Gordon
on
does the Unionist.
The Unionist show for us, and that'll be coming back on in a couple of weeks' time as well. Right, before we start reading out the comments and everything else, like, share, get as many numbers up as we can, guys. Let us know first of all where you're watching from. What we're going to talk about tonight, there's absolutely loads to talk about.
EGM.
If you were at the EGM, we'd love to hear from you in about 20 minutes' time. That would be great. All we need you to do is basically phone in and tell us what you're. It was hard, we were watching it, and take it on.
I know.
There was a lot of questions, and a lot of them, I thought a lot of the answers we were laughing at, the Rangers board tended to say, we'll be taking this on board and get back to you, and it was questions that had been asked 4 or 5 years in a row. So it didn't sound great to me, but at the same time, the club still looks in safe hands. There was a story going about tonight. I can't confirm it because I don't know the ins and outs yet, but it looks as if Dave King's voting, let me get this right, the way he voted was similar or the same voting pattern as Easdale's, and the people know the current board. So I don't know if there's been a kind of fallout there or anything. It's hard to work out. If you know more about it, you can let me know. And if you can understand how the voting system that works, you can tell that. Apparently there's a way of checking it. That's the EGM. If you're at the EGM or you've got good feedback on it, call us later on, let us know. Rangers played Sparta Prague. 2-0 to Rangers.
2-0.
Nearly forgot to score there. 2-0 to Rangers. Great atmosphere. Great game. And Rangers are through to the next round. We'll talk about that later on as well. As well as all that, we have the game at the weekend. Rangers played Livingston away from home. Fantastic win, 3-1. A game that lost a stupid goal. We'll talk about it in a minute. I'm interested if anybody was at the match, like me and like Gordon, who didn't get into the game until 20 minutes into it because the turnstiles were closed completely. If you were, please text us and we'll phone you up if you want, but we'll speak to you about it and we'll let people know. We spoke to the club, messaged the club SLO. No reply. We just basically got told that he would watch the video, and he's no reply to it. I spoke to him on Sunday after the game and on a text message and let him know there's concerns. Nothing's came back at all. The club have not got back to us at all. So that's 3 days we've waited. The club seem to not have a problem with fans not getting in and treated like basically like animals. And it'll not just be Rangers supporters. This will happen to clubs or supporters all in the country. Football fans always seem to be treated like second-class citizens. If you were at the game and you didn't get in, please let us know. Anything else we're missing on that?
No, I just want to thank Donna Robertson. She got the prize. She won the books, the
Right,
3 Bear
the 3
books
Bears.
From Stevie Wilson. He wrote the books.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Donna won them. She has received them. So well done, Donna. And I'm glad you got them.
So we'll go down the back if you start the feed, Gordon. There's loads of messages. Let's see what we've got.
Right, Natalie Patterson. Hello there, guys. Hi everyone, live show starts Gordon, I'm married now. Right, Callum Gordon, Neil Reid for Toronto, Andrew Peru, is that how you spell his name, say his name? Peru.
I think
Brian Newell, Si Leslie, how you doing, Si?
That's me, just like, don't send the stars, guys, if you come in at any point.
Did you get a munch, Si?
I got a munch.
Hello Joe Wiley, how you doing? Kenneth Young from Deepest Darkest Leicester, Margaret Grant, how you doing? Mark Dunnett. Warren, how you doing, Warren? Speak to you later. Agnes Mackay, Brian Yo, Gers TV, Cameron, how you doing?
What are the names?
Right, Margaret Grant, Thomas McGee, how you doing? Awesome painting. Chris Taylor.
Greg Thompson's got a wee thing that's quite interesting. I'll read it if you want.
Right, you do it.
Very positive, guys, at the EGM today. It's not bad that Rangers, the goons and the press are making out Rangers don't to sell players. I think that means don't need to sell. We're making out Rangers need to sell players. I think that's meant to say. And I think Gio be more positive with his outcome to march on to get us 56. Sorry, hard to read a wee bit of text speak in that. Yeah, people 55 to 56. Yes.
Right, hello Chris Taylor. John Ramsey, how you doing? Claire Robertson. I think she is in Brighton. I'm sure I read later on.
She read that.
Aye. Hello Natalie, how you doing?
Hi, Natalie.
Angus Mackay.
Warren
Thurso.
is in Larne. We're going to get Warren on at what, quarter to
Quarter
tonight,
to
later on.
8:45, sorry.
Aye, quarter to 9 will do be a story.
Roddy Lumsden, how you doing? Watching from Lynhouse.
That's an Easter, isn't it? No, that's the Govan.
Govan.
Aye.
Watching from the Bristol. Tap glasses with you in the Loudon on Thursday night.
Who?
Must
Who's
have been you. Lewis Hill. There, YouTube.
Right, I
Yeah,
met
there,
hundreds
there,
of people
there.
Thursday night. Aye, how do you lose?
See nothing on this feed. Have a good show. Check sharp. I don't know how check. How much was really sofa? Alright, okay. Blair Gowrie here, Margaret Grant.
What's check watching that on your Facebook?
I don't know.
Go back a wee second.
Because it's up.
Aye.
It says see nothing on this feed, but it must be on Facebook, but everybody else can see it.
Right, maybe a second, because remember Gordon was sending it off for a second, a few seconds. Might be that. Check, give us a wee thumbs up if you can see us now. And if you can't, then you'll need to just
Right,
listen.
Pero is my right surname. Right, thank you, Andrew.
There you go.
Right, Billy Johnson, evening guys. Margaret Gardner, Paul Sargent. Hello, Paul, how you
How you
doing?
doing, Paul? Derek Rush's new cover up.
And Andrew's fate of Falkirk, Pero. And Aileen Murdoch.
Check, just give us a thumbs up, or anybody else if there's an issue with the video side of it, because I think everybody's happy. It's when everything's going all right, I panic.
My feed keeps now, and my phone keeps missing.
Aye, right, so we'll talk about European first, I think, all right. It's a tale it's all saying that football is a game of, game of two halves and everything else, and how things can change. I think we were all a wee bit worried about getting into the game. We spoke about it last week. Played Sparta Prague, we need to win the game. New manager, first game, massive. I thought Rangers were outstanding.
Yep.
One of the comments I seen that made me laugh was the media, a few of the media saying that Sparta Prague gifted Rangers a goal, the second goal. But that's a good argument. But to gift us the second goal, you have to create the high press that every week you can make it on within the day for months. That won us the league last year. To do the high press will also push defenders, goalkeepers, and defending midfielders in a position where they've got to play the ball quicker. We've done that the whole match. Gio would obviously realise that was a weakness in their team. We've done that and we won the mistake, if that makes any sense. But it's the best cross it's probably been to whatever sort of season he puts it in. That was the second goal. First goal, great as well. We did say about Rebo. Rebo's been absolutely fantastic.
Yeah,
Last couple of weeks. He's been outstanding, the boy. And I thought the atmosphere, the fans again, take a bow. The best support in the world. It was great to see it. We're in the next round. That's all that matters. I've heard some of the negatives about it, but that was the last thing I was going to say. Was also today I've seen, and this is to me it's utter nonsense, but a lot of Rangers, so-called Rangers supporters on social media, they're saying that Defoe's been dropped from his position as the coach. Right. If you understand how football works, he's not been dropped. Something I think there's been a problem with Defoe and Gerrard. I don't know anything about that, but he seemed to disappear for a wee while. He was doing TV, he's meant to be a coach and he's not been playing. I think everybody knows that Defoe's still got at least to the end of the season and he can come on with 10-15 minutes to go and he's merely capable of putting the ball in the net. Jermaine Defoe is signed as a Rangers player. The last manager, Gerrard, used him as a coach. But every managerial system in the world, when you bring in your own team, you bring your own guys in, they've got him back playing. He's not been dropped. He's not been lost his job. He's a Rangers player still. And there's no doubt about it. A guy like Jermaine Defoe will be coaching the players naturally because that's how it comes. Most importantly for us, we've got a striker that we need back. So I don't think he's been dropped in any way. He's back in the team. He's back in the squad. And I think it's better for us where he is just now.
You get the thing that people start a story and it just takes arms and legs.
But Mark Dingwall said to me years ago, there's an element of Rangers supporters online that turn a victory into a defeat at every occasion. Lastly, guys, before I forget as well, Roby and the reserve team Loyal and the Queen Street True Blues they made the journey as well as the guys up in the north of Scotland for the Cove Rangers game tonight. It's the youth team playing. If we could get a wee update on that, that would be fantastic. Even if it's just a scoreline at any time, that would be brilliant. So that's my views anyway on the European game.
Sorry, I was reading Chick Sharp, watching on the Kindles, and that'll be the problem. Have a good show anyway.
I don't know how the Kindle is. That not for books?
I don't know. I think so.
God,
it's just like a tablet. Natalie's watching on her tablet, so it's fine.
See, sometimes when I'm rewatching it, I need tablets.
You'll need tablets when you're off a drink.
Right, I'm going to tell you a story. I wasn't going to tell it, right, but I need to tell this story, right. Spoke to Gordon about it, right. See the guy in this story. If you take offence to it, right, then just let's say the fictional character. Right? I need to tell the story because I was shocked when it happened to me, right. If there's any kids, go and have a quick look at Santa's coming in a couple of weeks' time and he's up in the sky. You might see him flying about. Right, so I'm in the Loudon Tavern at Folding Match at Ibrox. The game's about to start. It's 20 minutes to the game to start, right? And I'm like, I'll go to the toilet. So I go into the toilet and there's a queue, right? So I go to, you hear this? You'll be shocked. So there's this guy standing and he's obviously bevied. He's quite a well-known guy, right? But because everybody in his bus was out shouting his name, right? And I was like, what are you laughing at me? And I was like, he had a bottle of Budweiser and he's, I think, on at the same time as his, you know what. So anyway, I went, I'll tell you in a minute, because Celtic just went for getting 1-2-1 to get beat 3-2. I went, I don't want you to pee on me. So we'll wait till I finish peeing, then I'll tell you. You know, what is it? Because I'm the only person that knows the score at this point. So just as I finish peeing and it's a cold night, the guy says, have a look at this, mate. Right, and I went, no. And he said, oh, the bus shouted, have a look. What? No. But anyway, I couldn't know look. Guy had an appendage, right, about that. I've never seen it like it. It was like a baby's head on, right? And he was pointing towards me and I was like, what is that, mate? I've never seen it like this, Murray, but stop pointing at me. He said, look at it. I mean, where do you buy these? I've never seen it like it for my life. Anyway, he's pointing at me and everyone's sitting on a mute. I'm shocked. I couldn't concentrate in the game. I'm going, who is this guy? What was that all about? Showing me that. Anyway, watch what you're doing in the Loudon toilets, but I've never seen it like it in my life. That was.
Thank God I don't frequent nothing.
It was about that size. And I'm sitting freezing cold. I'm sitting freezing cold. I hope he doesn't look at mine. Anyway, back to the game.
They're all laughing. Was it pointing at that story then?
No, because I'm shocked, because the guy wanted me to see it. I don't know if he was wanting me to approach or something. But he's like, you need to have a look at this. And I'm not looking. I looked that way and I seen it. Anyway, back to what I said.
Jimmy Payton, how you doing? Scott Monk McIntyre, Alex McCallum, Claire Robertson, Natalie Patterson. I'm buzzing to have Defoe back on the bench. Been screaming for it happened since the draw with Aberdeen, and he's one of the few who could come and beat the last 15 minutes and make a difference. Because right, I'm like, that's text, because you know, his goal ratio versus minutes played was still great. Good to have him back, still fit as the butcher's dog. True for his age.
Nicholas
that was grew up and doing there, and that was giving me problems there.
There we go then. Nicholas Stubbleston, I like that flag, would like one with a red hand in it, wind up the separatists. We put it up because it's St Andrew's night, as you know. And then for Scots or the world, they want to celebrate it. The SNP's kind of monopolised anything Scottish to make it theirs and theirs only, which is wrong.
Yep. Hi Leslie Laird, how are you doing? We are the people.
Just comments coming in. Right, guys, so we're going to do the quiz in a wee minute's time, right?
The Tuesday teaser.
Tuesday teaser, right?
Shortly.
You're such a teaser. And
so was your pal for Loudon.
I know. I'm telling you some nightmares. I was like this, we're going to need a bigger boat. Where's we go there? Chick, are you watching the Chick? He's listening,
No, I think he's listening.
Hi Sandra, it's Leslie Laird. Replying to Brian, no, maybe they'll put Robertson in the pick with a wee speaky bubble of him saying how many languages he speaks and generally wetting his pants over Pedro. Lovely fellow was Pedro, but question needed to be answered for his appointment. I agree with that. However, I've heard the stories, I don't even know if they're true, I hope they're not true, but I've heard the stories about how he was appointed, but it's a past now anyway. We go there, Jim Newlands. Hi Sandra, glad you're on air again.
Thanks very much.
What you normally on?
I don't know.
Vodka.
Claim back your flag in our country.
I agree with that, and what I might do, I might put a wee salt in the corner for the next couple of weeks. It's a great idea, but happy St Andrew's Day wherever you're in the world. Let us know where you are. Right, next subject. We'll talk about European anytime if they wants to phone up. Next subject I want to talk about, if anybody went to the game, I put a video up
I've seen that
on the Gers TV Facebook page. I went to the game with Gordon, and you like a laugh, and I get the fact that people like a laugh and a carry on and everything else, but sometimes there's a serious fact to football. People pay a lot of money to get to the match, they put a lot of sacrifice getting there, and when you're getting there, you're treated like animals, and it's not just Rangers supporters, but this is the experience that we had at the weekend. So basically we turned up on the car, big Gary drove us in the van, the angriest man in Scotland that day. I don't know what happened, but it was, God will tell that story later on. But anyway, we go there and he's laughing, he got a fright. Gary, you're a bad man if you're watching this. Cody's still shaking. Right, so we get to Livingston, and it's at this point 20 minutes to kick off. Gary's got tickets to pick up, so he goes one way, we go another, and we're in the queue. This is now quarter to kick off. And I saw the fans are laughing and joking, there's no problems with it. It then becomes kick-off, and it slows down. We realise then that something's happening. There's something no right here. So there's only 3 turnstiles. 10 past, I think you go, we're in about 10 past, you hear the cheer for the goal. Then somebody realises that the turnstiles have been closed. So apparently they were searching every single Rangers fan going in. This is according to the guy in the video I've got. He can only go with his word, the steward. Again, he's only doing his job. But see, well, you're searching them getting in, but you're not letting us in. And they went, no, the turnstiles are shut. There is only 3 turnstiles to get in. So once we eventually realised that, we asked, what do we do? So we then get told to go down to the other turnstiles for a different stand altogether. Well, it's the same stand, but it's a different end to it, it's 2 ends. We eventually get in there, it's new. Missed the first goal, walk in and the second goal just took place, isn't it, Gordon?
Yes.
And after that, we've then got to find our seats. We then find there's thousands in the concourse all looking for their seats. But there wasn't very many seats available. So it tells me that they've either sold too many tickets or there's dud tickets or something going about. But why would you shut the turnstiles for the paying customer to get in?
I know.
It just isn't right. Gordy, what was your account on that? Is it I've exaggerated or something? But
It was just very poorly managed from start to finish. The police and the stewards seen hundreds of Rangers fans queuing up, didn't do anything about it, didn't want to speak to the Rangers fans about it at all, and then all of a sudden, 10 minutes into the game, they decided to open a random turnstile at the other side of the stand. If they were going to do that, why not do that anyway? Just do it. When you see hundreds of Rangers fans, that's a safety issue. Not as much as Rangers, Livingston,
anybody,
no matter what team it is, it's a safety issue. So why not deal with it there and then, rather than wait for everyone to get angry? And that's what annoys people most.
That's what Natalie Patterson says. Her boy didn't get into the Livy game till just before the second goal.
That's what we're talking about.
He wasn't happy either.
So there's loads of people go back to me. I was
Just
struggling.
sitting up for you in the corner.
For me?
No, the boy was just sitting up for you in the corner.
Aye, I mean, we ended up storing right on the, as you seen, I done a wee video of the last 10 minutes. But this has been, you're talking about you're paying to get in, you can't get in. There was nobody in charge. We asked 3 times, you got to verify it. I asked the police who's in charge. It's not my job, it's not to do with me, it happens all the time. Well, if it happens all the time and this guy's a senior policeman, why is he no doing something about
to make it
Why is he
better?
no sorting out? You're forever hearing from no fans, no football. Something needs to be done about it. I'm disappointed with the Rangers SLO not even getting back to his right. Check my phone now.
And there was clearly more tickets sold.
Aye,
That's what I'm saying. I'm convinced there was more tickets sold. A few people contacted me saying there was too many tickets sold. Yet you can't get an answer for Rangers. You're not getting an answer for Livingston. The police tell you it's not their business, and the stewards tell you we're just doing what we're told. Who's in charge of these things? Who's letting supporters be treated so badly? You're missing the game. You pay to see goals, you pay to see the football, and you're missing it. And do you need to wait till there's an accident before anything's done about it?
That's probably the answer. That's what they'll do.
The same people that tell you nothing happened will tell you, oh, but I'll talk to you for a week about the snowballs. Do you know what I mean? That was the big issue of the weekend, that a couple of young boys
that
threw
made the
snowballs.
paper.
Yeah, they'll not tell you the fans were locked out.
I know.
There was ice on the ground that you were on, you couldn't get in, and you're then trying to go in, and somebody's saying a bit about the pitch as well. It's terribly organised. Livingston, there's other grounds the same, and I think it's about time the fans get answers. You want the money, you go to then at least do your job and tell us what it is. If you were at the game, if Natalie, I know your boy, anybody wants to phone us in later on, let us know what you thought of it, but I think it was disgusting the way we were treated. On that, the game itself, Livingston, it's a ground that we can slip up at any time. We're always worrying about it. We always go, every time you play Livingston away from him, this might be the one, and it might be our bogey team again. I didn't see the first goal, I've only seen it on television. I forgot his name, he's ran away that much. Scott Arfield, wee chip, great ball in, fantastic ball for Tav, I think it was. Arfield's really came on his game since he took his opportunity.
Aye.
Gio's obviously given all the players an opportunity to play, and if you want to play for Rangers at whatever age you are, you'll get a game. I like that. I thought McGregor was outstanding. I thought the full team played well, apart from, again, big Golson, silly mistake, balls in the net. You went for 2-0 up.
Do you know, it's hard to believe the team that went out and played Hibs to the team that went and played Sparta.
Aye.
Do you know what I mean?
And it seems to be a similar mistake all the time. When it comes to the ball, it goes anywhere near Tav or Golson. There's a mix up whose ball it is and who's going for it, who's not going for it. But the response was good, and the boy, the Sakala's goal was finished for to make
That
it
was
3.
some leap he done.
Aye, the size that he jumped to, the height, that's an athlete, and I love the fact that after the game they interviewed him and how happy he was. He's enjoying the game.
I was reading that there, somebody had said that Fashion Sakala just loves the song that we sing to him. And his song was made up for him.
I was talking about the boy loves football, he enjoys it, and he's embraced the fact that he's with a big club
Uh-huh.
and what it's all about. So it was good, you know, the fact that that boy's sitting laughing about it.
Mm-hmm.
He's happy to be here. And I don't think money doesn't come in for it, but he's just happy to be with Rangers. And I think that shows you, a couple of people sending, there's no stars, sorry, it shows you that the guy wants to play with Rangers and he's young and he's talented and he'll get an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Nathan Patterson, again, is getting an opportunity.
Do you know, I love that. I think that wee boy's a fantastic wee player.
Maybe not enough for my liking, but you're well, when Van Bronckhorst came in 2 days to get a team together,
Mm-hmm.
always pick your best players first of all. You're not going to jump into that mistake and just drop the whole team. You can't do it. He's giving the boys a chance and I think he's doing the right thing.
Right, Chick Sharp, ask Stuart Robertson, Simon, you'll get a smile and a polite answer, a polite nod, but to answer you don't expect anything else. That's like you'll
That's
take it
what I'm
on
saying.
board.
We watched the AGM.
We'll take it on board.
If I contacted Stuart Robertson, the whole reply I would get an email right away.
I'll take it on
Do you want
board.
to speak about it? We'll take it on board. This will not happen again. And then you'll tell him it happened next year. And it's the same kind of...
One of the guy had asked every question, the same question for the past 7 years, and he keeps just saying, take it on board.
I've always said, as I said last week as well, the Rangers board and all the Rangers boards have never liked the fans. That's not going to change. But you're just wanting answers when things like that. If you're paying somebody to be an SLO, you send them messages, you send them footage, tell them I've got guys that are going to back us up on it.
Hey, I've got a question for you. I've seen there one if you did about the Tommy Burns thing. I heard something about, was it?
Didn't see it. Didn't see it at all.
Something about Rangers fans singing about Tommy Burns. I've never seen it. I've never...
Don't know.
It's
I
just
can't
something
comment.
online. I think it was photoshopped actually. Do you know what I mean?
can't comment. I
It's put
didn't...
out as Rangers fans.
I was running late today and I put the videos together and the system crashed, you know, and I don't watch any of the news the night of the show, so I don't know about. I'm not wanting to speculation here because it's certainly no.
I know it comes back to bite you.
Rangers have said today about if anybody's misbehaving outside the city, outside the stadium, sorry, then they can still be banned Ibrox. Do you agree with that? I don't. People might say today. My personal opinion is where do you draw the line? Does that mean if you're arrested in Australia and proven guilty,
You're not allowed in the ground?
I don't think that's right. And how do you prove it's right or wrong and what somebody was doing deserves to get banned and no banned if it's not a stadium? I don't agree with that kind of stuff.
David Mortimer says that's the way it should be, playing for the top and not the money. Must be Sakala when you were talking about him.
Aye, David's a pal of mine. Aye. I'm thinking is aye. No, it's the fun. You want to watch. Everybody likes to see a football player enjoying the game. It's even you know the players are doing it for the money and everyone else, but this boy just playing for the jersey, man. It's great. Obviously, the money doesn't help.
I think Torribo's come on leaps and bounds and all.
Aye, that's what I'm saying. He seems to be playing. The only thing I was worrying about with the Derby game was there was a period, we're still getting into the Gerrard style of football period where we don't want to shoot. We're getting that way now and again, we go pass the ball in the net, pass the ball in the net, but he's got to train that out of him. Well, you won't see Giovanni Van Bronckhorst's team until at least 6-7 months because he's not got his own players in yet and he's still trying to educate him his system, so you have to give him time to change it, but it is changing slowly. Right, Gordy, what's happening with our quiz?
Right, Natalie, I know it, but at least their AGM was all about us. I hear a lot of them have been
we were laughing at that.
Us lately, obsessed.
It's a great point, Natalie, but at the same time, you wouldn't expect any more yet. Any football club in the world that's got issues,
everything's always about the Rangers, Natalie.
What shall we say it, because they're always trying to do it, things right. If you've got issues that are going to take you, the court cases are impending and everything else, naturally you'll talk about anything but that, so they talk about Rangers. That's the only one club in the world that would do that, but that's all about the Rangers, that's the reason about it.
I've seen some doing a feed asking for Jim. Jim's not here. Jim had took ill and he's not been based for a few
He comments now and again, still Jim, he's still
times he's on the feed.
We're still pals and all that, but he was in a bad way for a couple of days, but he's better. Right, we're going to do that.
We'll play the video.
Play the video again one more time.
What we'll do is quickly play, we'll answer the question first so we can start putting them in.
Yeah, Stephen Renwick says the song did happen, Sandra.
Okay, so tonight's Tuesday teaser for your
Tuesday
chance to
teaser,
win
guys.
A very limited edition, one of only 1,000 made. In what year did Rangers win our first treble and who was our manager at the time? To celebrate a successful Rangers manager, to win a Rangers manager's painting. In what year did we win our first treble and who was in
If you've
charge?
not seen about the picture, here's the picture here, we've got to quickly put it back.
So that painting is from Derek McNee, who is the director of Football Art Club, Pingdale Wall Art and Wonderful Wall Graphics. Thanks very much, Derek, for a fantastic prize.
Thank you.
Brilliant guys. So again, if anybody's not sure what the picture is, because there's managers in and out, it's the greatest, the selection of the great Rangers managers. It's his interpretation of that. That's why he's picked who he thinks should be in it. With the main stand in the background, how it evolved from the old main stand to the new main stand. To win it, guys, I'm going to read the question again because a couple of people are answering half of the question, and I want to make sure everybody's got an opportunity. What year did Rangers win our first treble, and who was the manager? You must also post our Twitter handle to enter at the Gers TV _ official. So handle means if anybody like me doesn't use Twitter as your official name for Twitter. Is that right, Gordon?
Yes.
So we're on Twitter now, we've started using it, we need to plug it. So to win the prize you need to put them both in the equation. What year? Who was the manager? And you need to put in the text up there at the Gers TV _ official. To get that right?
I don't understand that. What if they've not got Twitter?
No, they're just writing it.
Oh, just
They're
writing it.
So
Right,
it's
okay.
to promote it, the more people talk about it, the more
Right,
people might
okay.
like it. So you just need to write it. You're putting answers in. I don't know if it's the right answer, I don't know if it's the wrong answer.
But
What
you
day
have
is-
missed out the hand there with the Gers TV Twitter name.
So you need to read the question again and put it on right. But they can put we don't mind if they put it in twice if they've doesn't matter, does it?
Yes, they can re-enter.
They can
You
read
can
it.
re-enter.
Right, there you
Right,
go.
there you
It's
go.
not the first time you've been saying that to people.
Oh my God. Right, alright.
Says you for the louding.
Right, if you're on TikTok, look us up to the Gers TV official.
Right, so what's the deal with TikTok? You started that?
I started that 2 weeks ago, maybe 2.5 weeks ago.
Aye. We've got numbers have been no bad on it. I don't know
We're
how it
over
works.
1,000 now. We can go live, but it's just that I can't control who enters the live. Do you know what I mean? So if I can't do it while we're here.
So we're not doing Twitter till the new year.
Aye,
We're
we'll
going
do
to,
TikTok
sorry,
later,
not
we'll do
Twitter,
live.
TikTok. But if anybody's interested in TikTok, we've started on that as well.
Please join us
And join
and add us to your page, please. And build our numbers on TikTok.
So that's that.
Serious question here. Why don't
Aye.
we celebrate St Andrew's Day and Robbie Burns the way that show celebrates St Patrick's Day? Show we're Scots and they're not.
I the big thing for me is I prefer the Robbie Burns Day, Robert Burns Day personally. I love haggis, neeps and tatties. I love the whiskies, you all know. I love the culture behind it. I love the stories behind Robert Burns, how he's celebrated throughout the world. I love how he speaks about peace and everybody being equal and stuff like that. And I also love the fact of a party with it. Well, St Andrew's Day's got not so much connected with it. With the St Patrick's Day thing, it's just about drinking Guinness. It was made in London originally, I believe, or for London. It was made by Arthur Guinness, who was Northern, who was basically, I don't know, he was a unionist and a loyalist. But it's been manufactured into to something to fill the plastic paddies into it. But they've done that and they bought into it. I agree with one or, I think you're one or the other. I think you can't really have two, chick. And my opinion is we should promote Burns Day more. I contacted Rangers about 10 years ago now, and I had an idea, why don't we have the biggest Burns supper in the world on the park? There must be a way you can level just something above the park and have the biggest Burns supper in the world. I think it was his 100th anniversary or something like that, and show the world that we're going to embrace these kind of things, but they never go back to me as usual. It was a meeting I had with them, they just decided not to do it, and that was it. But if people want to celebrate it, I think it's more the St Andrew's Day is more international and outside Scotland, and Burns Day is more everybody. But that's my opinion on it. Aye, but I know who he was. People tell me who he was. I know who he was. He was a Protestant man of the people.
Yes.
Sarah's not been on the night. Sarah Wallace, I was talking to her the other day. I'm going to quote her here because she'll be an agent. But she said to me, when I said to her the other day, we were talking about something, she went, I quoting Robbie Burns because she was a mad shagger. And I went, what? No, that's the name of my captain, so I'm a goalkeeper. And I went, no, he was a poet and a patriot and everything else. I'm saying all these things. She reckons I don't like him because he's a womanizer. She corrected me what she really meant was a womanizer.
Oh,
But he was
dear.
more than that. He was a lover. I think by Robbie Burns is the one we should go with that.
Right, hello, Vicky Hollis, Nicholas Stubborn, Robbie was amazing. Davy McEwen, how you doing? Natalie Patterson, Jason Green, Betty McKenzie, how you doing? Adam Hutchison, they're new names.
What do you say? You're drinking out of
Alan
a cup
Workman.
instead of a bowl. We're going to have to bevy for a couple of weeks' time.
He's kidding himself on here,
we're
by
at
the way.
It
He's
was running
kidding
late and I
himself
thought,
on.
right, no bevy, we're on coffee now. But I've drank 2 coffees a day, or 3 in the last 4 hours or something, man. It's making me hyper.
Boffy, I seen you on the feed. I hope you're a lot better. I hope you're feeling better.
Where'd you go?
He was up. I seen him further up the field.
Colin,
He was asking, yes.
Colin, if you get a chance, phone us in, mate. We're going to do the calls in about 5-10 minutes. But call us in because it'll be good to hear from you. I know you've been no well. Obviously not going to get into detail.
And he's in isolation as well, I believe.
Aye.
Yep.
Colin, stay in there. Very nice.
I'm sure you got a wee sniffer of the whiskey under that table. Hand whiskey, you're very right, Joe. How correct you are.
I'm going to have a whiskey, but I'm just trying to. I've got to tell you a story quickly. For 2 or 3 years, I've not slept. Right? You know, sleep apnea. Named in those. See the big neck here? It's getting worse because of that. And then I found out with the hospital the weekend that they knew for a year that the machine they gave me wasn't working. They just didn't bother contacting me to tell me. So finally got a new machine last night, and for the first time in 2 years, I got a proper sleep. I woke up ready to take the world on, and then I had an absolutely horrendous day. But Brian Newell will confirm, he's watching. He'll know what I'm talking about, but I won't get it for legal reasons. But it ended up a crazy day. But it's the first time I've actually had a good day's sleep. So I'm going to come off the bevy for a week and get my sleep back together.
Bet Mackenzie would die if you sent him coffee in.
Right, time to pull the whiskey in the month. Right, see what
Oh dear.
Have I put the number up? Are you getting it ready?
0141 319 5230 is the number.
So it's not a big pull this time. I'm not going for the double whiskies and all that. If I'm getting 8 coffees, end up peeing at bed. Hold on, who gives it again? Carol?
Carol Faye.
I need to tell a story, right? So Carol came up last week, as you know, guys, I told you the toast night, and he says, I've got whiskey, I don't drink whiskey, it's just for you, Si, you have the whiskey. Right. So I had a wee double whiskey last week, and Carol said at the end of the show, I'm going to stay for a wee year. 3 years later. That's me driving me. I don't drink whiskey, I'll just have another wee one. I was like the Reverend Iron Jolly, I'll just have another wee one.
Anyway, Carol, I hope you made it home safe.
Carol gives a bottle of whiskey. There's not much left now, but that's what we've got. Thanks a lot, pal. And the usual, the toast. God save the Queen.
Queen.
There you go, that's me back on the bevy now. See, this is how it goes in a circle.
Oh dear.
It would be great to hear from these guys if you want to phone in. Loads of subjects. The queuing outside of Livingston. The Rangers-Livingston game. The European game. Rangers versus Sparta Prague. Who do you fancy in the next round? Where would you like to go?
What's the number, Sandra?
0141 319 5230.
Hibs tomorrow night. It comes up the screen when you hit number. Hibs tomorrow night as well, if anybody wants to talk about that, because that's going to be a really, really hard game. And the next couple of weeks, if you want anything like that, and basically if you were at the ACGM, the AGM,
Is that the coffee or the whiskey?
That's the coffee and the whiskey. If you were at the AGM today and you want to talk about it, give us your opinion. We only seen it quickly. We're giving you an opinion on something we didn't properly watch, so it wouldn't be right to say that was a good EGM or a bad EGM.
I've only seen a bit yet, didn't
we didn't see enough of it to be able to comment. You need to see the whole question and answers, and I've not heard any feedback. I didn't get a chance to go to any of the websites or anything to check that. So we're going to put a phone number up on the screen if anybody wants to phone and give us a wee chat.
A boffy ability right there. I've seen his. I would call in, but I could hardly talk. Just you keep some of that whiskey for when I get back into Glasgow for a visit.
No, don't worry. I'm going to stock up in there. Don't worry about that. There's plenty in the bar, as you know. I've got Ella Juna for us. Plenty more to talk about.
Gary Kenmore, how are you doing?
Hi, Gary.
2-1 to the famous tomorrow. What's your predictions for the morrow, guys?
Give the predictions. That's a good shout. Cove Rangers. Somebody said it was 3-1 earlier on. I meant to hear that.
It's 4-1 now, I believe.
4-1 now.
4-1 now. Keep us up to date with the Cove Rangers. To Rangers.
Yes.
I'm assuming to Rangers. No, Cove Rangers when they say this. Get it right. Because in case we're announcing the ranks, we're going like, yeah, beauty. I've seen a few results for the youth team recently. It's been really good, and the B team, so that's looking good. Trying to keep this down here, man. It's big neck of mine. I've got a feeling we'll pump them 4-1.
Jake Henry.
That flies back again, that one fly.
That's my sweetness.
You've got the zapper, we need to get that fixed. We've got a proper zapper. We don't want the animal rights mob phone us in all that killing flies, but we've got a zapper that kills them.
It's a great wee video.
It is, and it's a great, do you know the pictures, but fantastic, but they've also done other pictures, so go to their website, you'll be able to find them, no bother, and on the website you'll be able to see that they've done other commissioned Rangers pictures, it's well worth having a look at.
Right, Mackenzie, a win for the Teddy Bears, 3-1 for Donna Robertson.
Any kind of win would be great.
Aye.
So we've got the phone lines open now, guys, if anybody wants to phone in, let us know. Still plenty watching the show, so we'll keep on. There's plenty of time.
Yeah, I'm good keeping quiet, Sandra. Thanks, you know me. Aye, I do know you, Gary. I do know you.
Aye, so that's a good point. Check up. Robbie spoke out for the poor in Ireland as well as the rest of us. Yeah, the Irish don't like him. We know why. I get that. Chicken idea. I forgot about this. We spoke about this a couple of years ago. Don't know if we would do it. Don't know if we'd been interested about doing some kind of themed Burns night in January. Maybe not too. I don't mean it's a bad way boring people, but a lot of people don't want to go deep into Derby Burns or that. But maybe do something where somebody can come on, explain a wee bit about him. Even a separate show, explain a wee bit about him and do the haggis and that and taste it and just a wee bit of fun, but to promote Burns. If that's an idea, we might do something like Gordy, something different. Just have an half on Burns night. Yeah, we'll pick something like that. Again, if anybody knows enough about Burns to do that for us to help us, because I only know the womanising stuff and the baby, and I can do 2 poems, but I like the poems that he does do.
Big Golson needs to get his finger out, and no ball watching tomorrow. I fancy 2-0, said Davy McCune.
Davy, great point. If Golson had somebody competing for his position, I don't think he would even have a chance to get the finger out. The management are basically stuck with him. We've got to play him just now, and we've got to hope he plays his way out of this. But the way the board, but I did see, but as I say, we saw bits of the AGM and the way the board spoke today. They've got a structure for every player, and that structure never changes. And to me, it was as if they were speaking about Golson. It sounded like him that they can't come to a deal, and that deal's not going to come. So they're basically going to part ways. Again, they didn't elaborate on the player, but make your own mind up.
When we're going to increase Ibrox, still no standard. They did discuss that today, and they
Again,
say it's an old stadium, but they do have to put a plan in place.
Again, what I heard for that was when we heard that, I think they made it say that they've not done it for a couple of years about it, and they're going to do disabled facilities need done. That's another show we're going to be doing. I spoke to people about that recently. I don't know enough about subjects. If there's a subject I don't know, I don't like to rant about it, but I've been told from some of my friends that are in the disabled section that it's not to the standard that it should be. It should be bigger. But again, I need to let them speak about it, so I'll try and do a separate show on that. I spoke to people about it last week. But the EGM spoke tonight, but I heard it saying they were going to put £1,000 into something. Was it the disabled section they mentioned?
I think it was the disabled, because there was a conflict going on about the blind section and the disabled.
Aye, so we don't know enough about that, but I'm going to get somebody to speak about it in a couple of weeks and get a proper insight to how they get to games and how they feel the games are and how they're treated. And as well as that, quickly, we've got a new pitch coming, but I know it's a hybrid, is it? Brinkley Warren. Yep. It's a hybrid pitch that they're buying, and it's going to cost a few £1 million, I believe, and it'll benefit Rangers. Warren, how you doing, mate?
How you doing, Warren?
Well, guys.
How you doing?
Hear you perfect. Let's know you hear Warren all right, because the first call of the night can't see my phone. How's things, pal?
Not too bad. A wee bit of a cold, but not too bad at all.
Warren, just before I start, have you ever sucked on a fisherman's friend?
Oh, mate, they're stinking. One of the worst things I've ever, honestly, my grandmother used to live, and she would say, "Let's take a sweetie there, son." And I'm like, "Aye, okay." And then that was a bloody fisherman's friend. or where there's original, they're just not nice.
You need tunes, orange tunes.
Aye, exactly. But no, as I say, well, first thing is I would like to wish you all a happy St Andrew's Day. Despite, the SNP trying to take it over, it's been over 1,000 years it's been celebrated in Scotland, so way before the SNP was ever thought about. Andrew was a very interesting guy, one of the apostles of Christ, and he's, not just in Scotland is he the patron saint, but he's also patron saint in Russia, Barbados, Greece, just to name a few.
Yeah.
So, very interesting guy. The history behind it's quite interesting, and people should read into it. Why did Scotland choose Andrew? And it goes way back to the time of the Pictish people of Scotland becoming Christians, and they looked to have someone to look to, and Andrew was the one. But as a Presbyterian, of course, I don't believe in the saints anyway, so I'm not getting involved in any theological debates with anyone here. So, no, as I say, I just like to wish us all a happy St Andrew's Day. To me, it's a bit like St Patrick's Day. It's lost its original meaning. Patrick's Day now is just a Republican drinking session here in Northern Ireland.
It's all over.
And all over the world. So that's very true. You know, but in Belfast, St Patrick's Day is just, it's basically a day where, you know, Republicans come on the streets with tricolours and try to upset people. It's meant to be, it's supposedly meant to be an all-inclusive thing, but when you go to Belfast City Centre, you will not see a St Patrick's flag flying. You will see tricolours left, right, and centre.
And St Patrick's colours blue. His colours blue, no
Yeah.
green. They don't. And in New York, they put they dye the river green. They
Green,
don't
that's
dye
right.
it blue. But I know it's impossible with age gaps and all that. I just wish a guy like Arthur Guinness was alive to be able to sit back and enjoy all the money he's making for him.
Funny enough, Simon, my father mentioned something recently, and a lot of people realise this. If you look, the SNP have not only just changed the politics of Scotland. You look at the flag, you look at the saltire now.
Yep,
And
change the
you
colour.
look at the way, you look at the saltires that they fly at the rallies and all.
Light
They're
blue.
like a
Light
powder
blue.
blue saltire.
Yep.
Saltires are not meant to be powder blue, they're meant to be a dark navy blue.
I know.
Like the one on your screen.
And that goes right back. I mean, it's just complete nonsense. This is what they're trying to do. They're trying to take, because the Union flag has always been navy blue, it's not a powder blue, you know, so this is what they're trying to do. It's a bit like here in Northern Ireland. We you know, Sinn Féin and the SNP to me are exactly the same type
Yeah,
of people.
definitely.
They're just trying to eradicate anything that's good, you know, in a country. And the Britishness of the country, they'll try and take that away, you know. And that to me is what Republicans here in Britain are really about, trying to destroy everything that's British, everything that's orange, everything that's royal, because they don't want the royals either. So, you know, I personally just feel that there's no point even trying to pander to these people. You know, people say to me, "Oh, why don't you go to St Patrick's Day parades and stuff?" I'm like, no.
Warren, do you remember?
People.
Warren, do you remember? This might be about 10 years ago, right? My pal Graham Hanna from the Shankill was talking about it. There was a campaign. See, I know it sounds small, right? That people might say it doesn't matter, right? See, when you go onto Facebook and you want to put an emoji, they call it, and you've got all the different flags. They don't have a Northern Irish one.
No.
And there was a campaign called We Still Exist.
Because there's been too many people complaining about. They did for a while have the St Patrick's Cross.
Aye. Was there not a campaign called We Still Exist? Trying to explain
That's
this.
right.
Whether you like
That's
it or
right.
no, this is who we are.
Yeah. You know, it's a bit like what we had recently there with Remembrance as well. You know, unfortunately, the club that I love and grew up with in East Belfast, well, you know, they have literally, because they brought a couple of players in from Republican backgrounds, they have ditched everything to do with the traditional Remembrance Day that we always had. Now, they did have some sort of Remembrance thing before the game was on, but during the game, there were them and that other crowd, the Terriers, basically the only clubs in the UK that didn't observe and then silence. It's disgusting. I mean, you know, it's the same with the poppy. I mean, my friend lives in the south of Ireland, and there's people down there of a Republican backgrounds called Poppy Watch, and if they see anybody walking around the streets of Dublin with a poppy in, they go over and chastise. You know, it's disgusting. These people are politicising things that they should never even try to. But listen, get back to the game, guys. I mean, what can we say? We were all despondent 2 weeks ago, and now we're all happy as Larry.
Yeah, I know.
Gio has just brought in the real positivity back into the club again. I have to say, the last 2 games we have been absolutely brilliant. Yes, I agree with Simon. We're lacking at the back. We're missing silly, you know, we're missing the ball, and then they're giving them really silly chances. Where's the clean sheets of last year? You know, last year we were clean sheets all over the place. We're not getting them this year, so we need to tighten up at the back. You know, I think he will try, and I think he'll bring in someone in January, maybe.
I think you'll have his man already lined up for that.
I think, you know, we do need to have cover there, because of injuries at all, and we don't really have enough cover. You know.
Well, that's one of the points I was going to make tonight. I forgot actually about it. Was see the players that are out on loan. For anybody watching tonight, who do we bring back? Because we've got a January callback, and these players. I think they'll come back.
That's the thing. Who do you call back? Who do you think that we really need? Are they going to be able to play the Geos? You know, specific type of football.
Yeah.
Because he's not going to play the negative. You know, to be fair, you know, Steven Gerrard won us the league and everything else, but there was times, as we all know, there was the negativity in the football was there. You know, whenever the plan needed to be changed, Gerrard seemed to be reluctant to change the plan. Whereas I don't think you're going to see that with Gio.
There was also
if Rangers are playing crap within
favourites in the
10
team.
minutes of a game, Gio will just go right, take the two or three players off that are you know that aren't pulling their weight. Gio will not let that go on, you know.
I know.
Aye, but no, great shout.
Oh, there we go, guys. So, no, listen, it's great to be back on again. I've been off a few weeks there because I'm trying to get things done for customers for Christmas, so I'm up to my eyes. Last thing is I'd like to wish my mum, if she's watching, I don't know if she is or no, a happy birthday for this Friday. She's a big 7-0.
Happy birthday, Warren's mum.
All right, guys. So listen, thanks very much, and everybody remember, we are the people.
We are the people.
Hope you all soon. Cheers. Bye.
Good call. So guys, give us another few calls if you can, if anybody wants to phone in. The number's up there, 0141 319 5230. Cost you pennies wherever you're in the world to phone in. It's about 2 pence. 3 pence.
That's for me, knick-knack.
Yeah. I think the one way, you need to, I'm not a massive fan of him when he was at Rangers. He's first with his spell there, but if you're sending somebody out loan to be better and they prove that they're playing well, then you need to give them the credit of doing that, and then you need to respect. There's no point putting them out on loan if you're not going to bring them back. You just sell them. He's went out on loan, he's scoring the goals at a high level. I would get him back now, I'd certainly have him in that squad.
And before I forget, David Ainsworth's picking up his tickets tomorrow. He was last week's winner.
He won it. He's going to pick them up.
He won the tickets and the champagne from the Bristol. He picks them up tomorrow, guys.
And we'll have prizes up next week's gone. We'll get a lot of different offers with stuff happening. But if anybody wants to get involved with the prize side, sponsorship or anything, let us know as well.
Give us a wee call.
It's something
get involved.
We've left. We've not really promoted it much in the last couple of months, but we've got everything gone now. Everything's
Don't dare.
Everything's back on target. We've got a lot of ideas and a lot of new plans. And if anybody wants to get involved in it, let us know. We'll definitely be able to accommodate you and get involved with it. Right. In what year, this is the question again, just to do it live on their time. In what year did Rangers win our first treble? Who was the manager? You must also post your Twitter handle to enter. And that Twitter handle was at the Gers TV space the Gers TV _ official. If you post that and you put in the year and the answer basically, then you're in the draw to win the fantastic picture that's been printed just now. The reason it was late, by the way, is because Giovanni Van Bronckhorst became the manager just before it was complete, and the night he gave it with the fans' expectation was added. There we go. Any more comment?
No, that was it. Right. I was just...
I meant to tell you this before, I should have said to you before I started the show, right? But anyway, remember, we'll put our heads together tonight, and we're going to do something for the kids' charity for Christmas.
I was just going to ask you that, because somebody had asked us 2 weeks ago, and we've not organised it.
I was thinking about the day, but I had a nightmare. I'll tell you about what happened later on after the show's finished, but I had a nightmare a day, and I've been thinking about before that, we need to get our eyes and ears together, or whatever, or our ideas together to do something for the kids' hospital, if that's what we're going to do. Probably the best thing. We'll do a wee fundraiser.
Because we never done it last year because of COVID.
We couldn't, I think, say that we couldn't get a visit and things like that. So we're looking at doing something next week up to Christmas, right through December, that we can...
For the kids, sick kids.
No, what I say we'll do because we don't know yet, but we'll do something as a gift to put in for all the kids in the Scottish hospital. It's not called Jock Kill anymore, it's just for all the kids.
It's just the Glasgow sick kids.
But I think if they're really sick, they'll go to it in Scotland, I think. I don't know, but we'll do that for them and we'll have an answer next week what we're going to do, and you can maybe donate a couple of £1 each. We'll try and get a couple of £100 at least, and give the kids a wee smile for Christmas. Guys, there's a number up there. I'd like to hear somebody else calling. If you at the game on Sunday, did you not get in? 0141
319 5230.
Who do you want the next round? I've seen a few.
1949, I think.
Seen a few people tell me about the predictions of the scores. And there's loads of trips out available if we're allowed to travel for the Europa group stage that we're qualified for.
Do you think we'll have a strong December, mate?
Well, it's a great question. And I know it's one game at a time. A lot of it will depend on things like tomorrow night. We need to win tomorrow night. A draw's not good enough. Rangers need to go out and they need to basically hump them. We need a good win tomorrow night. The next 4 games that are coming up, maybe 5, are vital towards winning the league this season. A lot of people say, get hard games coming up. After the hard games, I answer that one. After the hard games, we'll get easy games coming up if you want to look at it that way. So I think we'll have a good December. Chick, how you doing, mate?
I'm doing fine. Just a couple of points if I can.
No bother, mate.
Check.
Hello there. Yes, it's. I was just thinking, like, to see the game the other day. There was 2 instances where we had good penalty shouts, and I'm getting the feeling that we're not even getting to see the replays or the slow motion or anything like that. And I'm wondering if that's my first point is I'm wondering if that's these TV companies, whether it's BT or Sky Sports or what have you, they're doing that lane they've been kind of petty, sort of stuff.
Taking the huff.
As much as I agree with that, right, and you're probably 100% right, I've also seen it doesn't help when you see Rangers supporters joking about it constantly, a penalty to Rangers and all that, and then you find out that we've had less than everybody else, and things like that. We should be highlighting things when it's not right, but Rangers, as we know, do this, the silent, we've done it for years, and we don't ever highlight the fact that we don't get a fair treatment. So if the other end of the city's constantly saying they're treated unfairly, and we mock it and laugh about it and make jokes that Nicola Sturgeon's helping us, see if it ever comes to a 50-50 decision with the Scottish Government, they're going to side with Celtic to look impartial.
I know.
Because of that, it's wee things like that. But I do agree with you that there's been decisions that you think, why was that not shown again?
Well, there's 2 things about that. I mean, you're absolutely right there. It's kind of it kind of negates any kind of comeback we go with referees, because the thing we're just laughing about it, the other thing about that is like, say, I remember a while back when the I was into the picketing and all that with the miners during the dispute, and I remember at the time Spitting Image was on, and the thing then was that although they poked fun at the government and the police and this and that, and we laughed. What they actually done was to put a dampener on were kind of on our annoyance, and our anger. And I think that's the other thing that you should bear in mind. What you're saying about what these Rangers fans have been making fun of is then it's taking the lid off the kettle sort of thing. And we should be. Yeah, we're not going to be, because we just let that release valve go now and again. We go, oh, ha ha ha, and it's you get away with the podders as well. It's like they turn around and say, well, you'll never realise how far this goes, how deep this goes. I got a lot of nonsense, man.
But check, then
don't talk like that.
Again, then you've got Rangers supporters saying brother beatings and referee, and you're like, John Beaton, a few things John Beaton's pro-Rangers, and because he's drank in a pub that Rangers fans drink in and again, you're adding flames to the fire, but you're also accepting something that's not true.
Well, I've said many a time, I think, I hope this is a better line than the last one that I done last week.
Yes, it's a lot better, Chick.
That's great. I said that many a time about the referees. I think the referees in Scotland are made up of, like, say, 90 or 95% cowards, and 5% are, 10%, just cheats, like, say, Clancy and that. So I think how we deal with that is, like, we've got to, the Rangers boards have got to have a comeback, or they've got to allow Gio to come in and say things, because I get the feeling that was one of the reasons that Gerrard went, because this season he just saw, and I would imagine the Aberdeen game would have been the final straw for him. It's like they had, I think it was like 12 or 13 or 14 clear shirt pulls in the box, and he couldn't talk about it. And yet for the following three or 4 days we had their manager, the Aberdeen manager, talking about saying that wasn't a penalty.
That's a great point, Chick. If you remember, we'll all remember quite a well-known incident. Gerrard's first away game, I'm sure it's his first game, was Aberdeen away, and he came out and he said, I've heard that Rangers don't get these decisions, and it's happened again. See, since then he never spoke about it ever again. We all know what happened. The Rangers board have said we don't deal with things that way.
We've got to walk away from that type of stuff, because it's just, see, if you ignore the facts, the facts just come up and bite you.
Yep.
And I don't see the point in keep on doing this. But I don't think we'll start getting down that lane until we get rid of Stuart Robertson. And I think the problem with Stuart Robertson, if you watch him today, he's so polite and so nice, and so everybody likes him. And I think the board need to be asked the question, should we have a CEO that everybody likes, or should we have one that can do his job? Because at the minute I'm just thinking, you were talking a few weeks ago, you were talking about the bandsman, it was an IRA supporting bandsman or something like that. I working at the door.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind Stuart Robertson working at the door. That's about his level. Anybody can use spreadsheets. So for him to be getting close to 500,000 smackers a year for being polite to people. And we're seeing people said to me, "How is he a coward?" And I said, "Well, there was one instance, even aside the Scottish Cup final with Hibs, there was one instance a few months back where the PLO was angry about something the Rangers done, and they phoned up Robertson. And when he got route through to Robertson told him to call back later. And when he called back later, Robertson put it through a conference call so that Parks was there to speak with him, to support him, basically to you speak the law well. And we're supposed to, we've got fans that think, Stuart Robertson that goes on the SFA board once every couple of years, and that's great. And I say to myself, why is it great? It's nothing. I mean, it just gives them information about how staff we are.
I had to laugh. I mean, something was interesting, right? I meant to mention this earlier. We only flicked through the AGM, right? And I'm not going to jump into the Gers TV is the best thing in the world, did it? And although it is, right? If anybody remembers, you might remember this. Last year, was it 2 years ago, was it we went to Liverpool? Do you remember that?
That's right, yeah.
Right, now I'm going to quote what Stuart Robertson said, no exact note to note, right? But basically he said that he's realised in the last year that there's not enough outside Ibrox, there's not enough on a non-match day, and that he's found that over the years he looks out and he sees thousands of supporters walking about the streets on a non-match day and they've got nothing to do. Maybe the club should do something about it. That's almost identical to what you said 2 years ago, and asked the board to do something about it. They never ever contact you and say it's a good idea. Have you got any suggestions? Nothing. It's their idea now. After we've pleaded them for 2 years to do it, so I think they're eventually going to build a cafe now.
Wow,
it sounds
it took them 2 years to suggest.
Just to remind you what I was talking about. Me and Sandra got there, and it was just a normal day. And I said to the steward, we were outside Anfield, and I went, "Who's playing tonight?" And he went, "Name there." I went, "Is it reserves training or something? What's happening?" "No, there's thousands here every day of the week. The bus for the city centre takes the tourists in,"
right at it.
Which we've seen, it was a free bus. There was thousands outside Anfield. I'm not a Liverpool supporter, I'm only one-team Rangers, but you have to give them the acknowledgement. There was thousands just walking about that stadium. The cafe was full, the bar was full, the ticket office and the merchandise. And we played
in 2 floors, their merchandise was in 2 floors.
Yeah, and there was stewards everywhere telling you where to go, welcoming you.
Showing you parking spaces where if you couldn't get parked.
It couldn't be nicer, and there was nothing on. And Stuart Robertson's finally, maybe he didn't watch the Gers TV, but we pleaded with him. And he comes out and almost identical to what I've said. He says he watches every day. Really? Makes you think, mate. It really does make you think. But you want a leader, I agree with you. You want somebody that is, see if you wanted somebody nice, that's maybe the guy that lets you in the doors at Ibrox or something and welcomes you. But you want somebody that's ruthless when they're doing a job like that. Martin Bain was another one that done nothing when it came to fighting our cause. He famously said that he didn't want a Rangers supporter working at the club.
I know it's kind of laughable that they get paid that amount of money though. I mean, it's basically, I've heard people say, I think it was David Edgar saying that there's no point in having a go at him because he's a CEO, a managing director sort of thing. And my attitude is clear. Why is he, if he's basically just an accountant, why not just pay him like he's an accountant?
Aye, I know.
Because I don't see the point in him showing his face. My second point, if I can quickly make it. Well, it's about Gio. I think Gio has kind of spotted that something that we've all basically spotted, whether it's consciously or subconsciously. It's this business about the disconnect between the defence and the midfield, and the midfield and the forward line. And I think he's doing things about it. You can see him when he's bringing on Patterson, or he's got camera running behind the 2 centre defenders. And I think that's obviously getting sorted, and it's going to take a wee bit of time. So I wouldn't be, if I would say Rangers supporters, don't be too despondent if we don't take the full 3 points tomorrow, because the mess that Gerrard has left there, and I don't mean a mess in terms of the players we've got, because the players we've got are probably the best set of players in the league. But he never addressed this problem. All Steven Gerrard done was he set out a team's tactic at the beginning of the game, and then he told them to go and play it. And if they didn't do it, you know, at the end of the game, they say, well, I wasn't happy we didn't press here, and we slipped back a bit here. But the truth is, you can't, and the players know this as well, I can see that through watching them, you can't expect the players to go, you know, full tilt for 90 minutes every game, unless they're really exceptional players. And although our players are the best in Scotland, they're not kind of exceptional in terms of world class. So I think the players know that Gio is, you know, is making changes during the game. And he's making changes during the game to Mars, much the same as the way Dick Advocaat did. I mean, we all remember, like, say, Rickson getting pulled off at half time. And Gio was doing the same thing, you know, he said, well, that's not working. We need him back there, we need him a wee bit more forward, and stuff like that. So we've got somebody that can coach as the game goes on. And that's all I've ever wanted, because if you do that, you're gone with your full potential. But what Gerrard was doing was basically just sending them out, and that was his scope. Until half time, then he could maybe, you know, get into them a bit or something like that. But you can't expect players to go full pelt for 90 minutes.
No, it's a great point, Mark. Just on the first point that you made on that, Chick. See the European game last week, Sparta Prague. You could see during the game that Tavernier was struggling a wee bit with the opposition player. I don't know the boy's name, and he brought on Patterson to ease up that, to make sure one of them could up the wing. But he also he realised there was a problem, and he fixed the problem. Do you know? So I agree with you there. He's looking at the weaknesses in the team and saying, well, how do we fix the weaknesses?
It will take a wee bit of time, but I think, like, from my point of view, it's like, see if we beat Hibs tomorrow, I will be kind of near enough certain that we can win this week. You know, even if we draw, I'll still be kind of hopeful we can win the league. But the thing is, once it gets to the end of the second round of fixtures, if we're still tapped, then I would fancy us. You know.
No, I agree with that. As I said earlier, Chick, a lot of people say there's a lot of hard fixtures coming up for Van Bronckhorst as he came in. That's the best thing that could happen to him, I believe. You're better getting right in the hot water. You're better getting right in.
Well, that's it. I mean, that's the way you'll find it. See, if you had our first round of fixtures instead of the second round of fixtures, I think Gio would have probably struggled to understand what was wrong with the team. But like you say, he's right in there, and he can see what's gone wrong, and he's attending to it. I don't think there's much he can do about Goldson and the other centre back at the minute. I think that's going to have to be put on the back burner until January. Then we'll find out if he's got something in mind, or we'll find out if Goldson's going to sign a new contract. Because at the minute, if he doesn't sign a new contract and we get a player in, I would kind of be. It's kind of hard one. I would kind of be of a mind where, you know, just to drop him, you know. And I say that, having said that, I remember when Celtic were trying to stop us, then were second, and you know, it was a case like so they basically grabbed John Collins, didn't they? Because he wouldn't sign another contract.
That's right. I remember that now. I just
and that was detrimental to them, wasn't it?
It was, but at the same time, I think you need to put a marker down sometimes who Rangers are, and if you don't want to play, Richard Gough came out and said that you're not playing for Shrewsbury.
I know.
This is Rangers. You need to know the standards, you need to know the expectations, and if you can't live up to them, and you don't want to sign a contract, that's fine, but go. You can't go in the park saying, I mean, we're beating Livingston 3-1, the Livingston players are all saying, oh, that's a game over. I wouldn't think so, and that's Livingston, so I wouldn't expect it for Rangers.
You're right. I mean, it takes a certain kind of mentality to be a Rangers player. I mean, that boy, Windass, he was a great player, but he just did not have the mentality to play for us. I mean, it just wasn't there. You know, he wasn't like his father that way. You know, he wasn't a kind of battler. You know, the first sign of an elbow, you know, he was just going to get disinterested, wasn't he?
No, that's true. But again, I think you need people at the club to tell them and try and push them and spur them on a wee bit. Guys like Richard Goffin at the club, they're making sure John Brown, you know who Rangers are, what they are. I mean, I'm a really good friend of Terry Hurlock, and every time he talks about the playing with Rangers, he says to me, those boys were all, they're all nutters. I'm not going to swear, I don't want the red card. They're effing nutters. John Brown's head on walls, he said, Richard Goff's punching walls. I'm supposed to be a hard man, he said. I'm looking about this dressing room and I'm realising this is something special here. This isn't a football team, this is a war. That's what you want at the club. You want people that ingrain it in you.
Well, I think like the boys, I mean, I don't know, there should be an element of that when you're signing players. There should be a kind of psychological element where you maybe get a psychologist or a psychiatrist as well. You should be getting them in and say, listen, yes, Jack Simpson, what do you think? You know, if you were a psychologist, you would say, no.
Jack,
you know, he looks like a big soft boy, doesn't he?
Jack, I don't know age you're, mate. I know you're a wee bit older. You might remember this a wee bit more than I've read the story. I think it was George Graham in his book, but I've heard the story, right? So what you're talking about, the psychology. I believe it was Scott Simon had a tactic when he was going to sign a player. He would take them in the stadium. I think he got it, the idea that he'd seen Bill Struth and took some of it for him. But Scott Simon would bring a player to Ibrox, walk him around the stadium, and then put him in the halfway line, and then ask him to look about and ask if he realises how big a job he's been asked today. And actually, George Graham in the book, he's kind of laughing about it, saying, I didn't need to know that, I knew who Rangers were and all that. But that was when he was getting asked to sign with Rangers, but that was what Rangers were doing. They were trying to psych them out. That was the story I'd heard. I don't know much about it, but...
I think there is a kind of disconnect between fans and football clubs these days. It's like they used to have to go in the Rangers social clubs, didn't they?
That's right.
And meet them and find out, you know, and find out what was in their minds.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. But the days are gone, and I think the mobile phones have helped them gone as well, right enough.
Well, I mean, if they're going to play for Rangers on a Saturday and go to a Rangers social club on a Saturday night, they need to make sure they've been putting in their best efforts, you know what I mean?
But a lot of good points, mate, a lot of good points.
So I would just to close, I hope fans realise that, but because it'll take this kind of slippage there, this disconnect between the defence and the midfield has been going on since the start of this season. And I think since the start of this season, I think Gerrard's went away and it's shown through and that. But this disconnect between them, the defence and the midfield, has been going on and it's been getting worse all season.
I mean,
so
it's fair.
It's not going to take him 2 or 3 games. It's going to, you know, we're going to be like January, and when he comes back for the winter break in January, then we'll find out. You know, the true worth of our new manager. But I think everything's looking good for what I can see.
I agree with that. And his appointments he's made with his backroom staff, I think he done the right thing with Defoe. Defoe's still capable of playing, and he's been paid to play. Get him in that squad. I think that's the right thing.
Well, I think Defoe didn't really want to be pushed into that. I think that was just Gerrard being listen, you're my pal, I'll tell you what you need to do, sort of thing.
I know.
Yeah.
So I think Defoe is better. You know, we'll get more out of Defoe, and to be honest with you, since Defoe has became the strikers coach, things haven't really gone well.
But you know what? But when he's back on the park, it's a different thing, and I think that'll benefit as well.
He leads better with example than he does, in a coaching field, I feel.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that 100%.
Anyway, I'll let you go, Simon. I'm sorry, I just wanted to make
wise words, I appreciate it.
Good to hear from you.
Right, no problem. Look forward to your political show when it comes up.
Aye, a
Good
couple of,
stuff.
maybe the end of it. We'll discuss that later on. We'll do it soon. There's an SNP thing happening.
Tell that Gordon to get on his bike and sort out.
Literally.
Oh, big cyclist, thanks, Chick.
Speak to you later, Chick.
Tell Gordon I'll race him along the Forfeit Clyde Canal.
Ah, there you go, you're a challenge.
You'd love me up that canal.
All the best, Chick. Great comment.
Even being Rangers supporters will need to go up to the Union Canal as well.
Brilliant, absolutely fantastic.
Right, I'll see you there. Right.
See you later, Chick. Bye.
No, just remember, Gordon mentioned the fact that there's an SNP conference finishing now, is it? Has it started?
Finished yesterday.
Finished yesterday, so we'll make this up next week, but Gordon can. I still would like to see the Rangers supporters for independence to come on and do a wee chat with them.
Then they wouldn't come on,
And
but
tell
they
you why
asked
you
them.
believe it, and because you have to give them a fair shot, whether you like them or whether you agree with their belief, sorry. But I would like to hear why they think it's acceptable the way Rangers are treated by.
If I remember right, the last time Gordon was on, we did contact him
We
and
did, and they
the
were available,
reviews,
so I'm going to
aye.
try and get him an arse out of it. Just, but if you want to have a debate, you want to have a debate where everybody has an opportunity to speak and give them that opportunity. Gordon believes he'll win the debate, but we'll give everybody the chance. So we'll be doing that soon. Anything else?
I think that was us.
Quiz, we'll do the quiz. We'll do
When is
that.
the winner getting drawn?
We'll do that later on in the morning night after the match.
After the match tomorrow?
We'll do that after the game tomorrow, yeah.
The winner will pick tomorrow after the football, guys.
You'll get your picture in a couple of weeks because they're still being produced just now. They're still being printed, I believe, but we'll get one for maybe next week. But whatever happens, you'll get that picture, you'll be mentioned on it. We'll quickly do it again, the question one more time, just before we forget.
In what year did Rangers win our first treble, and who was the manager?
And?
To win it.
To win it, you must post or reply with our Twitter handle.
So that's all you need to do. You get the hat, you've seen it as a big hat, but it wasn't a hat, it was a glass.
Big hat.
Which was better. Get that and you get a chance to win it. Guys, thanks again, it's been a great show.
Always see you next week, guys, and always remember, we are the people.
We had McGregor, Tavern, Goldson and Borna at the back. Alfie, Kent, Rafie, Tindefall and attack. Davis, Jack, Kamara, Arfield, Hadji came alive. With Helen, Dead and Balogun, they won us 55. We love you Rangers, we do. We love you Rangers, we do. We love you Rangers, we do. Oh Rangers, we love you. Not forgetting Joey Boy, his name we couldn't fit. Like Edmondson and Barker, we knew they'd done their bit. McLaughlin, Jones and Bassey, Bungani, Zunga and Nico Katic couldn't play, but he's Rangers through and through. We love you Rangers, we do. We love you Rangers, we do. We love you Rangers, we do. Oh Rangers, we love you.